Stretching across 2,300 acres along the Broad River in South Carolina, Blue Lake Farm is now in the hands of the 5th and 6th generations. Rusty and Jessie Thomson, along with their son Russ, work together to manage timber, produce hay, grow turkeys, and raise high-quality cattle.
Blue Lake Farm is a farm that encompasses my wife, myself, and my oldest son primarily. And he mainly does the turkeys and helps us out with the cattle.
Well, I came here in 1977 when I married into the family. And immediately my husband and I got into row cropping, and a couple of years later we got into cattle. So we've had an experience of working together side by side on everything we've done out here.
Both Rusty and Jessie had long careers off the farm. Rusty was a Clemson livestock extension specialist, and Jessie worked for the Natural Resources Conservation Service. Those experiences helped shape their approach to making improvements on their own land.
It's amazing how their education has made it a much better place.
We've just tried to do things right as far as the environment goes and keeping the farm on good soil, and we're trying to reduce some things that have been, done to the farm in the past that we need to try to improve on.
Early on, the Thompsons moved away from traditional row crops and shifted to pasture and no-till hay production to best use their sandy soils, minimize erosion, and support their crossbred cow-calf operation.
We try to run around 200 mama cows. We're usually a little bit less than that because of culling and things like that, but we try to stick around that 200 mark. We have 2 loads of cattle primarily from that 200 cow operation, and we sell the best and feed the rest. And we've done really well over the years with the cattle that go to the feedlot as well as the cattle that we sell here off the farm.
Each year, the Thompsons reseed their pastures and control weeds to maximize grass production. And with the help of solar-powered electric fencing, their cow-calf pairs are rotated through 30 grazing units.
Well, our grazing plan, we try to monitor our pastures when our cattle are in it, and we monitor the height of the grass, and when the grass gets to be a certain height, then we move them to the next paddock.
We can do pretty good by topping the pastures in a good fast rotation and letting the cattle get what I call the icing off the cake, and they don't have to dig down and eat so much of the cake, so they can just get the icing and go on around for different paddocks and move them around pretty quickly, and that makes the calves grow better.
Blue Lake Farm includes more than 4 miles of frontage on the Broad River as well as several streams. So Rusty and Jessie have taken action to protect water quality. They've established wide buffer areas, installed 45 concrete water troughs, and built 3 stabilized stream crossings.
Our stream banks, we try to protect them with fencing. We have use exclusion fence up around most of our creeks. When we put in our watering systems, that was one thing we tried to do, was to keep our cattle out of the creeks and the streams.
We've put so many lines underground, I would hate to know how many miles of total lines we have in the ground, but we service most of our water needs from, well, I can't say that we have any left that we don't service from the water lines.
The recent thing that they've done here is add the water troughs and the pipelines. In conjunction with that, fencing out the surface water so that the cows can't get into the creeks and stuff, and therefore it keeps surface water clean, and the cows have clean water to drink.
Beyond the cattle, the forests on the farm are closely managed for both income and wildlife habitat. The Thompsons have placed fire breaks around their timberland and planted food plots to enhance wildlife. And their turkey operation fits the farm needs, not only providing income, but a consistent source of turkey litter as fertilizer.
The cattle, everything works together. It's kind of like a cycle. The time we need to put out litter is the time we need it on our pastures or on our hay fields, and the cattle harvest the grass, and it just seems to just work perfect together.
They're doing the sustainable things. The things that we see, like the water quality projects that they have here, protecting surface water, adhering to the waste management plan when they have their turkey operations, when they are spreading the litter for that as an alternative fertilizer source. All of those things speak to the stewardship at this place, and they have an eye toward the future, and they're looking to maintain the productivity of this land.
Always willing to share their conservation knowledge with others, the Thomson family never stops looking for conservation and farming practices that will help them responsibly care for their cattle and their land.
Stewardship is just managing the God-given gift that we've been given. I don't think any of us own the property. I think it's all owned by the good Lord, and He just encourages us to take care of what He's given us, and I appreciate the fact that He'll let us do that.
The land is our responsibility to take care of, to pass it on to the next generation. And I think it's our job to do the best that we can to protect what has been given to us to take care of. The land, the rivers, the timber, and the cattle. So, I mean, I think it's our job to look after everything.